The victim, one of the nation's most prominent abortion providers. The suspected killer under arrest and under investigation for links to anti-abortion groups. Good evening. I'm Anna Durangelo. Abortion rights advocates are shocked and frightened, and anti-abortion leaders have denounced the killing of Dr. George Tiller. Linda looks into the impact of Tiller's murder. Linda?
And George Tiller is one of only a handful of doctors who perform late-term abortions. His violent death was the latest in the string of shootings and bombings directed at abortion clinics, doctors, and their staff in the past 20 years. Pro-choice groups say women's rights are under attack. One anti-abortion group says while murder is never acceptable, they're not surprised it happened. Dr. George Tiller was shot and killed as he was walking into his church. It happened in front of 4 other people.
The 2 men were trying to apprehend the shooter. There was dialogue, which I'm not going to divulge. That'll be part of the criminal trial. And they were both threatened, and the gun was pointed at them.
The suspect fled, but police caught up with him 170 miles away, just outside Kansas City. In 1993, Dr. Tiller was shot in both arms by an anti-abortion protester. 8 years earlier, his clinic was firebombed. Wichita police tonight say they have 51-year-old Scott Roeder in custody.
We will be investigating any connection this gentleman had with any affiliation. That's all part of the follow-up investigation.
Pro-life groups say Dr. Tiller did his work knowing his life was in danger.
Well, now is outraged by this act of terrorism. We've called on the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security to investigate it as just that, an act of domestic terrorism. Women's constitutional rights are involved here, and people who have tried to make sure that women have access to health care services have been threatened.
Anti-abortion group Operation Rescue condemned the shooting, but also tempered their reaction.
And the man that did this, I don't care how he tries to justify it or for what reason he did it, he has now become what George Tiller was, a murderer. And murder is sin, and murder is always wrong. He died the way he lived, and it was a bloody death. Countless thousands of little baby boys and girls have been slaughtered by him and by his hand. And now, unfortunately, he is dead by the very same thing.
Wichita residents are in disbelief.
I am total shock. I am totally in shock. I don't believe in abortion, but I don't believe that we have the right to take anyone's life.
I mean, it's one thing for them to protest outside his church, but it's another, to do an act of crime.
Tiller's wife was in the choir at the time of the shooting. Police say they have booked the suspect on 1 count of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault for pointing a gun at those 2 eyewitnesses. Ann?